Look, guys, I know I claim to just look at the analytics. You know, I don't I don't watch the tape. Okay? I admit it. In fact, I'm proud of it, okay? And one of the, if not the biggest thing, the most fundamental metric, the most rudimentary, basic analysis, or analysis, if you want to talk plural, when discussing receivers, purely analytic wise, has to be breakout age and dominator. I mean, they're the most rudimentary, basic. And okay, don't get me wrong, things like yards per team pass attempt, or just receiving dominator, or even a touchdown share. These things can be more predictive, but there's nothing like a good old breakout age and dominator. All right, I mean, they're just so easy to look at and be like, wow, he's good, or wow, he's bad. I mean, I'm not saying I do this, but I'm saying this is the most fundamental metrics in wide receiver prospecting. And this guy that I'm about to talk about doesn't excel in either of those. His name is Amari Rodgers, and I really like him. I'm sorry, guys. I know. I'm supposed to be the hard-nosed analytic guy. I'm supposed to be that dude. But check me out, man. Amari Rodgers, he can kind of ball. For a guy going so late. Oh, that's awful. For a guy going so late, I might have some shares of him, even if he doesn't check the boxes analytically. Okay, guys, just give me a try here. I promise you can explain some of his lack of productivity at an early age, especially. So let's just get into it. Amari Rodgers ran a 4.49 out of high school, which is fast. That is above average speed for a receiver, and that's out of high school. So he's gonna get faster, which means he's gonna be a very, very good athlete. He plays as an 18-year-old true freshman in 2017. And Clemson, their receiving chart looked like this: Deion Kane, who was a 6th round pick that year; Hunter Renfrow, who was a 5th round pick; Ray McLeod, 6th round pick; T. Higgins, you know him; Mylan Richards, DeAndre Overton, and then Amari Rodgers, who put up an abysmal 19 catches for 123 yards and 0 touchdowns. But he did get 3 catches, and he did put together 51 special team yards. So pretty solid there. I mean, the dynamism that he displayed on the three carries and the special team yards is pretty cool. And he also outproduced Travis Etienne and Cornell Powell, who are gonna get drafted this year. So not a great season, obviously, but to come in as an 18-year-old and play for Clemson is pretty cool, right? He comes in next year. Clemson goes 15-0, 15-0. They don't lose a single game. I mean, they are just dogs. They are just dogs. DAWGS. They are dogs. Rodgers is 3rd on the team in receiving yards, behind T. Higgins and Justin Ross, who are both dogs in their own right. Okay, he outproduced the senior Hunter Renfrow, who goes on to be a 5th round pick that year. Okay, that year he's a 5th round pick, and he outproduces him. But not only that, he carries the ball once and has 321 special team yards. Amari Rodgers has 55 catches for 575 yards and 4 touchdowns. And that is a great season for a sophomore. For a sophomore on a Clemson team that went 15-0, he was outproduced by 2 elite talents, and he beat out Hunter Renfrow as a senior, who was a 5th round pick that year. I mean, that is pretty sick. And the dynamism, that is a very, 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 very good season on the profile. But somehow, the next year, he doesn't do as well. I mean, he gets outproduced by T. Higgins and Ross once again, which is expected. But this time, Travis Etienne, who is a dog in his own right, but a running back. He gets outproduced by a running back, which is, And then, I mean, the numbers aren't bad. He has 30 catches for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns in 15 games, though. And he has 2 rushing attempts for 50 yards and TD. So, pretty solid rushing the ball, obviously, but, very low volume. But just down all over. I mean, down in special team yards, down in everything. And outproduced by Etienne through the air. no, that's rough. That's rough. As a 20-year-old, to be fourth on the team in receiving and be worse than your last season in more games, not impressive at all. So going into this year, it was safe to say that Rodgers was not on many people's radars because, I mean, after the sophomore season, if he were to like elevate his game to, let's say, 700 yards, I would have been into him. But only 400 yards in 15 games, no. He was off the board here, and he was looking like just another late round prospect, and not very good. However, he comes in 2020, and Rodgers. So this is a very interesting nugget, or very important nugget when you're prospecting receivers. If they don't break out till later, you want them to be dominant in their last season and dominant in the face of competition as well. Because if they aren't, they stand no chance of being good in the NFL, right? So if someone has a late breakout and they just pass the breakout, like they get like 20% of their team's yards and touchdowns, like just like on the threshold, and they're not like outproducing like everyone else like on the team, they have a very low chance of being good. However, Rodgers comes in and is an absolute dog this year. He comes in as a 20-year-old, or as a 21-year-old rather, with no breakout, and puts up 102 targets for 77 catches, 1,020 yards, and 7 TDs, and once again adds on some more special team yards. So he leads the team in everything, targets, yards, everything, and he does this with ETN once again, who he outproduces drastically, and Cornell Powell, who will get drafted. So Rodgers is the best player on this offense. I mean, besides ETN, he's the best receiver on the offense in his last season at a great school who we know is going to be in title contention every single year. So you can excuse his late breakout a little bit because he was very dominant. But normally a guy that was dominant in his last year with a late breakout, I mean, it's not like anything crazy, but they need to bring something else to the table, right? I mean, they need to have some good skills, like tape wise or like analytic wise, just to be like, hey, I'm confident in this guy despite the breakout. And good thing Rodgers does, right? He's first in the nation in slot catches, so he's an elite slot presence, and 17th in missed tackles, 7th in the country, 17th in missed tackles per attempt, rather, 7th in the country. He is 8th. He is 22nd in yards after catch per reception, and he's 3rd in slot yards. So just a dominant producer from the slot, breaking tackles as well. And get this, right? So despite him being used like close to the line of scrimmage, like in the slot, and having not high yards per reception, check out this little bit that I got from PFF, right? So his receiving grade in throws 1 to 9 yards down the field was only 67, right? So not great. But then once you go farther, 10 to 19 yards, he has a 77 grade. And then even farther, an 84 grade. So despite being dominant, close to the line of scrimmage, on yak opportunities in the slot, he was more efficient deep down the field. Meaning that, I'm not saying that he has that skill set, but he has potential, and the potential is untapped. So that is a very, 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 very good nugget to have. He was more efficient down the field than he was close to the field. But he was more used close to the line of scrimmage, and he was very efficient there as well. So, like, just, he profiles as someone that is going to be productive no matter where he's used, right? I mean, that is just a very good nugget. But here's where his main draw is for me as a nerd, right? Rodgers is 5'9", 211. This guy's BMI is elite for running backs, right? This guy looks exactly like many running backs. He looks like your favorite running back. I mean, this dude, a 31 BMI, 0.2 actually. Laviska Shenault had a 30 BMI. He is more dense than almost every receiver in the NFL. He's denser than Visca. He's denser than, I think, AJ Brown. I mean, he's more dense than almost anybody in the NFL at receiver. And that's really good because if he's getting these slot catches, maybe 4 or 5 a game, he's gonna break tackles. He's gonna get a couple carries. This guy has future somewhere. We don't know where, but given his efficiency down the field right here on no volume, his proficiency in the slot, force missed tackles, BMI, I mean, he has lots of things to go, right? So he's efficient down the field on no volume. He's elite after the catch with a legit build at running back. I mean, this guy looks like your best running back, but get this, he held his own as a younger kid with NFL competition. Like, he wasn't anything crazy. He wasn't anything crazy, but I mean, he was producing. I mean, you saw sophomore year. I mean, he was outproducing Hunter Renfro, and he went to get drafted that same year. He was a senior. I mean, that's big. And then once again, we can't excuse the late breakout because that kind of sucks, but we can at least justify it because he broke out in a big way with good competition. And when elite competition like Higgins and Ross wasn't in his way, who are like obviously like great, he was the guy immediately after that. So like he has a lot of things that you want. And once again, if he maintains this 4.4 speed at this size, I mean, if someone runs a 4.49, which is like probably what he will run. I mean, if not faster, because that was in high school, at 2.11, with proficiency down the field like he showed, and elite numbers from the slot and the yak and the BMI. I mean, I don't see how you can't like this guy. So once again, people will look at his breakout age, which is in the 38th percentile, and his dominator, which is in the 30th percentile, and be like, wow, this guy's like ass cheeks. This dude is the Trey Sermon of receivers. But they'd be wrong. Because you can... Okay, they would be wrong entirely. Because you can't... Once again, you can't justify late breakout. That's success. That is a very important thing in prospecting. But you can rationalize it to some degree, okay? Once he wasn't dealing with T. Higgins and Justin Ross, who are both like high-end NFL talents, he was the guy. And once he was the guy, guy. Like, he was the number one on elite offense. And combining that with, once again, his elite slot receptions, yards after catch, BMI, efficiency down the field, this guy looks like someone that can win anywhere he wants to, however he wants to, with elite size. Maybe a gadget player, maybe not. Lots of upside with this guy. And I have a feeling that he's going to be pushed down draft boards by everybody. By film people, because there's not enough production, and numbers guys like me because of the late breakout. But once you dig into it more, he kind of has that juice. He kind of is that dude. And anytime that this can happen, right here, these like what? How many words? Anytime that these 89 words are said of a player, I want that player. And then combining it with this right here, I mean, this is just so impressive right here. These, how many words? If you don't take away anything else, look at these 117 words. These guys right here. He was great on the field. Great close to the line of scrimmage. He broke tackles, high BMI, high speed, everything you want. Everything you want aside from a good breakout. So go ahead and draft Amari Rodgers, okay? You have the green light from the numbers guy. Go ahead and do it because this guy has the juice. He has the juice down the field, close to the line of scrimmage. He has everything you want. Take him. Please take him. Because this guy, even if he isn't a true Alpha 1, he has the potential to be on the league for a very long time when in a more gadget role, which could score points. I mean, like a Curtis Samuel. He could be Curtis Samuel very easily. And Curtis Samuel scores a lot of points. So go ahead. Draft him later. He's better than a lot of these receivers that are just going to not get any separation, okay? Go ahead and draft Amari Rodgers. You have the green light from me. Ugh.